how has it been going? What's the reception been like?
In answer to this, but I think anytime you mention an opinion about something, the first question that kind of comes up is, why aren't you in politics? Why aren't you part of a party? A lot of the questions I got yesterday was, when will she come and save Pakistan? So they wanted me to ask you that. And I wanted to ask you a little bit about that experience, where when you put out work, especially when it's a work of fiction, this is something you've been working on for 5 years, I think?
Yeah, 4.5 years about.
And so you spend all of this time working on something, really put your heart into it, and then the first question that kind of comes out is, why haven't you written about your family? Or why haven't you written another non-fiction? Or when are you going to save Pakistan? These kinds of responses are the majorly what you get. What is that experience like?
Well, there's a few things in that question, I guess. The first thing is that I don't think Pakistan needs saving. Pakistan is something much greater and much stronger and more powerful than any of us, and it doesn't require anyone to come in to do anything. And I don't believe anyways in the idea. It's true. And I think the idea is very dangerous, you know. Anyone who presents themselves as a savior for anything, I think is a dangerous, not only a dangerous idea, but that is a dangerous person who believes that they can take that on. That's an arrogance that I aspire to never ever touch. At the second level, I think I take it as affection when people come to me with that question. I take it as a way of interacting or wanting to share something. And that something is not necessarily about me. It might be about how that person feels at that moment, about feelings of worry that we all have about our home, or anxiety or fear. And so I take it like that. But then I have been answering that question also for a while. And it's hard, it's a difficult question for me to answer because there isn't really one thing. It's not like I have a yes-no answer that's one big button that would make everybody happy. The truth is that when I was growing up, it was in my mind, the idea of politics. So growing up, it was always something that I thought I would do. And it was something that I wanted, in some ways, to do. And that's for many reasons. That's because of my father, that's because of how I learned about politics from my father and understood politics to be a service rather than a duty. And because he believed so strongly in things like justice, he believed so strongly in hope, he was a very hopeful person. I always understood politics to be something that brings you closely into contact with people. And growing up, I always did have that in my mind. But at the same time, I did have this other love, which was books, and which was reading and writing. And I got that also from my father, who had a library that he kept in Damascus. He kept it like, it was a sacred space, you know, and he was a Virgo, so he was like very fastidious. There was like no dust near his books ever. You couldn't touch them, you know, you couldn't fold dog-ear pages. And, you know, he used to read the newspaper every day, and he would always have a book near him. And he passed that love on to me. And when I was growing up, I was very lucky to have the father I did, especially, well, for any country, not just for Pakistan or for Sindh or for whatever. He was incredibly open and always gave me the chance to do and be what I wanted. Growing up, he did say to me, you should do whatever you have to study and you should do whatever you like. I would sort of like it if his thing was that he wanted me to go into the Foreign Service, the way my grandfather had started his career. So he did used to write me little letters and say, I support you, whatever you want to do. It would be nice if you wanted to become foreign minister like your grandfather, but it's up to you. And except for when I was sort of young and came up with odd ideas, he never said, no, you can't.
What sort of odd ideas?
Well, like at one point I wanted to be a professional swimmer. And he was like, no, I don't think we can handle that.
Can you imagine the comments I would be getting if you did become a professional swimmer?
No, he was like, that's a very interesting idea, but I don't think that would work. But at the same time, I wanted, he never said no. And actually when we were speaking backstage, Sanam and I have a picture on my phone. Razi, did you get the picture? Did someone have the picture?
Yep.
Did it reach? So I have this picture on my phone. Oh, you can't read it. So now just me and the entire LLF organizers have it. But if you could read it, it's a letter my father wrote when I was 10 years old to a publisher. And it's in his handwriting, and he's written, "Dear sir, my name is Fatima Bhutto. I'm 10 years old and in the 5th grade of the American School in Damascus. I like to write short stories for children. In fact, my short stories have been published by the school newspaper. I'm interested in publishing a small book of my collection for children and would be interested, etc., etc. Would you please send me a copy of your..."
Is being political in different ways.
Yeah, absolutely. I really do believe that, I say it all the time, but I believe that everything in our life is political and everything that we do is political. How you treat people, how you engage with people, how you move through the world, how you live your life, how you organize yourself, how you interact almost with everyone is a political act. In this city, is great evidence of that, for Iqbal Bano to stand on a stage and sing Hum Dekhenge. That's an incredible act of politics, of defiance.